Hello once again, welcome to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Robin Dyker. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merckzone, Mike Merkel.
Yeah.
Oh, you're stretching out, you ready to go? Get loose, get limber.
I watched a lot of wrestling this weekend.
A lot of wrestling? That's beautiful, that's good stuff. Guys, we have so much to go over today. We've got some MLB action about, Justin Verlander maybe accusing Major League Baseball of some improper behavior to some baseballs. We're talking Russell Westbrook getting traded, and no, it's not to the Detroit Pistons. We've got U.S. women's soccer winning the World Cup. I know it happened last week, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. We're talking about it this week. We've got AEW Fight for the Fallen and the WWE/Evolve collaboration show. We're doing some reviews on that. Mike's got some hot takes about that good stuff. And we're going to end the show with the NBA to NFL pay gap and why maybe we think the NFL players should either stop complaining or possibly, they need a raise. All that good stuff and more coming up on this week's show. Mike, let's just jump right into the hottest, probably the biggest individual move, right, of anything that we've seen so far. Russell Westbrook, we talked about it last week, the potential of him, and you kind of sold me on him coming to Detroit. You really did. I kept thinking about it, and I was like, man, that's really... you know what, maybe he's right. Maybe we don't have to. It's fine, you know. Obviously, though, that doesn't happen. He's a Houston Rocket. Chris Paul, 2 firsts are going to OKC. And there's swaps of picks, right? First off, just before we hit any Pistons talk or anything like that, who wins this deal? Because I have some takes about this actual trade itself, but who wins this? Does OKC win this thinking that they're still going to flip Chris Paul, hopefully, or... who wins that? Because they're both got bad contracts.
No, I think Houston wins it because when you look at, if you're going to compare the bad contracts,
right.
Westbrook's ends when he's 34.
Right.
Chris Paul's is 34
and he still
has more to it. So if Westbrook, when he hits 33, 34, and you're like, wow, this is ugly, kind of Chris Paul as he's getting 34, 35 is getting bad, then you can kind of ditch him. You don't have to re-sign him.
Exactly.
So, and as I've always said, and I think you're pretty much in agreement with this, for the picks standpoint, I never think that there's going to be 2 guys that you're going to draft in the first round. Right. They're going to be Russell Westbrook right now.
Nope.
So in which case, I don't mind you...
Especially because you're not going to be bad enough to get a top 3 pick anyway. You're going to be an above average team.
Yeah, you're going to be picking in the 20s probably.
Exactly, and you ain't finding nobody.
Yeah, you're not going to... exactly, that's what I mean. So,
for sure.
Sending those picks away doesn't really involve me too much. Yeah. Which then I'm looking at Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook, and I'll take Russell Westbrook almost any day right now.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
Especially
in the prime, I would go, it's very tough. They're both very good.
They just do different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Chris Paul's a better shooter, which kind of hurts, but at the same time, they have so many good shooters around them that I don't think it matters too much.
Right. I think it's a bit of a toss-up as far as in their prime, but as of right now, I agree with you. I think and I think that's part of the problem that I have with this trade, though, is the fact that the Pistons, right, you look at what they have on this team, right? If you could have packaged a Reggie Jackson, a Langston Galloway, and a couple first-rounders to kind of match the salary along with the future incentive, right? Yeah. I would have been totally okay with the Pistons giving up what what Houston gave up. You know what I mean? Because, I get it, and especially knowing that, okay, we're going to flip Chris Paul anyway. They could have easily rode out Langston and Reggie because they're both on expiring contracts where you don't have to make another trade. I'm a little annoyed, honestly, that if that's all the cost was and you're kind of trying to go for it now, I felt like you could have done this move.
Well, there's a lot of word that Chris Paul, the OKC just wants to keep Chris Paul. They don't want to flip it. They just want to keep him there for his 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, from that standpoint, I guess if you just want him as, the veteran guy to start developing younger guys.
Overhaul it. All right, he's okay.
He's good enough with a lot of young developing guys to be okay, this is what you got to do here and there. And then in 2 or 3 years when he leaves, you got all these guys who are come up who are, just learn from him. So I think that's kind of what their mold is right now. And in that case, we don't have a guy to send there that has that level. Of course. And that's probably what they didn't want.
Yeah.
They wanted
honestly, I'd have been okay with throwing another 3 or another pick in there. or another pick swap or whatever. You know what I mean? Because pick swaps to me, I'm like, okay, whatever. So,
unless they're in the NFL.
Yeah, right. That's different. That's a little bit different. But in the NBA, right? You're both going to be, So I don't think that... Do you think this takes Houston over the top for anything? Do you think that, okay, we're going to take Chris Paul out, we're going to put Russell Westbrook in, NBA Finals?
I think it makes them better, but not there yet.
Yeah.
And because I think, as we said, Chris Paul's a better shooter, and Westbrook is very ball dominant.
Yeah.
And
so I think Harden. That's what's weird. I don't know how they're going to coexist.
I think here's the interesting thing that I've thought about over this past week while I was thinking about what to say to this.
Yeah, right.
And going, I think it's going to be Russell Westbrook's going to dominate the regular season, and then James Harden's going to dominate the postseason.
Yeah, that's kind of where Russell Westbrook is weak, right? In the postseason.
And that's when James Harden goes balls out.
Take it, James.
Exactly. So I think you're going to see him.
That might make him more effective.
Yeah,
even
he plays all 82 games, and he just does his 40-point triple-double thing or whatever. Gets him a 5 or 4 seed in the playoffs.
Right.
And then they hit the playoffs. He goes, okay, I can give you 15 to 20 a night, but this is when you need to go for 45 a night kind of thing.
Well, that's a great point.
And James Harden playing the Kawhi Leonard, like, you can take 22 games off if you want to, because you know you have Russell Westbrook who can win you those games that you got there.
Can lure you into the playoffs at any point in time. Yes. I think that's a great point. I don't think that's something that a lot of people have been missing, is the fact that Russell Westbrook by himself cannot carry a team. I mean, it's different.
Not all the way.
Right, exactly.
The regular season is
correct.
Different,
but, I mean, now that you have a elite... I mean, Paul George is a great player, right? And at times he was on a stretch of MVP-like seasons, but Harden's a different animal altogether. Offensively, especially, you know what I mean? You know, I think Paul George is a more complete player, defensively and everything else, but Harden offensively is a juggernaut. So because of that, and he can take 40 shots a game and they still win without Chris Paul, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's something that I never thought about. I don't think a lot of people have been thinking about that. Speaking of Chris Paul, though, there has been some rumors that he'd like to possibly come back and join with Blake Griffin and kind of reunite that whole thing and kind of try to redo what the Clippers did, but just 35 years later, because that sounds like something we should do. But you kind of, just based on that comment, you kind of get where my head is at. But did you think that the Pistons should try to trade for Chris Paul and that $140 million? I say, raising my hand, ready to smack you if you say yeah.
I want to try to find an argument where I can talk you into it, but I can't talk myself into it.
Right, exactly. So, it's so bad.
I mean, you already have Reggie's, and honestly, at this point, I'd take Derrick Rose and Reggie Jackson over Chris Paul at the second.
No, and at their money too.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm paying Reggie. Let's say I don't know what it is, like $18 million, and I'm paying Derrick Rose $7 million. Okay,
25.
I'm paying Chris Paul $25 million. He's not going to play. Yeah. So I got 2 injury-ridden point guards. I got 3 injury-ridden point guards, and I'm paying how much money? Right.
Exactly.
Or maybe if you traded one, that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I can't even think of a way to talk
you into it. Here's the thing, too, is that, you know, there's a lot of reports out there where it goes, they didn't end on good terms in L.A.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's not like they're all of a sudden like, oh, yeah, you're hurt more and you suck more? Yeah, let's be bros now. Like, how does that help anybody? You know what I mean? Like, if you want to win, if you're Chris Paul, you don't come here. And if you want to win, you're Blake Griffin, you're like, I don't want him. What the hell is he going to do? You know what I mean? I'd rather take my chances in free agency 2 years from now and figure it out. You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
You know, that to me doesn't hold a lot of water. I think that's just a name. I think a lot of people at the end of this really wanted Westbrook. I think a lot of people were like me. Maybe it was after listening to the show and they were convinced by you that it was kind of a, man, I really, you know what, thinking about it on paper, if nothing else, it goes, why not? Why not try it, right? We'll see what happens.
Well, it's one of those, if you're a diehard basketball Pistons fan, you probably go, this is a dumb move and don't do it.
Right.
But if you're just like you're like, I just want to go to the games and have fun every single night and know that I'm going to get my money's worth, Westbrook is a perfect guy to bring in.
Absolutely.
And now in Houston...
And it's a name, too. And you're like, Blake, blah, blah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get you excited.
Now in Houston, they're just going to be a better playoff team.
Right, exactly.
I still don't favor them.
No,
but
not with what the Lakers and the Clippers did.
Yeah, but you have a better chance, I think.
Yeah, I do, and I think that you're right. I think that dynamic, though, with Harden taking over in the playoffs and Russ taking over in the regular season a good chunk of that time, I think it's really going to kind of be the formula. And I think that with Mike D'Antoni's offense and the way they run up and down the court all the time, I think it's perfect for Russ, right?
And they got shooters. They got Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker.
And then dish and go, right? Yeah. I think that's going to be
You can throw James Harden out and put someone else in there. And
if they can just play a shred of defense, I think they'll be dangerous. You know what I mean?
And
Westbrook plays D. Westbrook plays D. Right, absolutely.
PJ Tucker is one of the best defensive forwards. So
right, exactly. So you have some pieces there in Houston. I think that if you were going to make a move like this is the only move Houston could do to like maybe upgrade their team with what assets they had. You know what I mean? They didn't have any cap, so it was just kind of like this is something that everybody else made these moves, right? Clippers got better, Lakers got better. All these teams that are in that same thing. You know, even the Warriors tried to stagnate a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. You know, or the Warriors got worse. Okay, we need to make a move now to kind of supplant them at the top of the West. Absolutely. All right, let's shift now from the hardwood. We've been talking a lot of basketball just because of all the craziness that's going on. Yeah. I want to talk some baseball.
The only sport that's in season right now.
I know, right? Professional wrestling's in season.
All
365, baby. 365. We'll hit that in a second.
I was going to say, we get more of that.
I know, right? Major League Baseball had the All-Star game this past weekend. It was crazy. You know, home runs galore in the home run derby. Vlad Guerrero Jr. going crazy. I mean, they set records. A whole bunch of stuff. Justin Verlander, many Detroit fans may or may not recognize that name, has come on record now a couple times, and he's not the first person to say it, where he's basically accused the Major League Baseball of juicing baseballs. Okay, so what that means is, doing something, manipulating the I guess the way the baseball is made to make it easier to hit home runs, right? And there is an increase this year of home runs, and they are on pace right now to set a major league record for doing that, right? So the offense is booming right now, right? And let's just start off just straight up. Do you think that's true? Do you think there's anything to Verlander's accusation?
See, this is interesting because you can almost pull this to Deflategate a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because you can shouldn't all pitchers notice that the baseballs are different this year than
Verlander's still playing out of his mind. That's what's
exactly.
Crazy.
So, I feel like that's something where you go, shouldn't, the catcher or all the pitchers just go, isn't this baseball a little different this year?
Do you think that it holds more merit because of Verlander? I mean, he started the All-Star games, which means he was probably the top pitcher in the American League. Yeah. Do you think it holds more merit that he is the one saying, it's clear there's something else wrong?
I think it definitely does.
If it was
Matthew Boyd or whatever, you just go,
you're
just because you're having a bad game or something. Yeah, exactly. But when you're the best pitcher probably in the AL or whatever, you do hold a lot more merit. I actually just think that it's just the revolution of how baseball is now. Yeah. It's just hit home runs and score more runs.
Do you think that they are doing that? Do you think that MLB, though, the Major League Baseball, has something to do with that? Do you think that they are trying to do something that goes, we got to do something here?
No, I just think it's just turning into that league. Once you look at Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton on the Yankees over here, and they're just bombing away every other game, 3 home runs or something, then you go, the only way to beat this team is to score more runs, which means get more home runs. I feel like in the NFL you almost see the same thing, or the 3-point revolution, where you just go,
no doubt.
It's not that they're changing everything. It's just
changing the way we play.
It's just they're scoring more.
Right. There's an added emphasis to one thing.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there was incentive of going, hey guys, maybe you should score more runs. Yeah. And that means
we score this amount of runs. Statistically, we have a better chance.
Exactly. In football, you're like, all right, how about we throw 15 long passes and get 65 points?
Right. Yeah. We complete 40% of our passes, so 20 yards or more, and we only complete 45% of 20 yards or less. Yeah. Might as well start taking more shots.
Exactly. Right. Or in basketball, you're like,
analytics has obviously come into the game more, right?
Yeah. So I don't think it's particularly maybe the baseball. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they're like, the baseball's lighter, so it's easier. Right. It goes farther or whatever. Sure. I wouldn't be shocked, but at the same time, I just think it's just how the revolution of baseball is.
So let's just play devil's advocate for a second here and say this was true. Right. Okay. Let's just say, for instance, it's kind of like the steroid thing. That would be like a nationwide thing, right? Yeah. If this was to be true, but for all intents and purposes, let's say it's right. If it was true, though, do you think that it is a concerted effort by Major League Baseball to spike ratings? You know what I mean? People want to see home runs. People do not want to see pitching duels. They don't, right? They don't want to see, all right, and up 3 and down 3, up 3, down 3, up 3, and always pop up. Okay, you know what I mean? And it's 0-0 going into the 8th inning.
I was going to say, it's hard because I love pitching.
Right, but it's funny because when you say an 8-year-old kid and they want to go see Miguel Cabrera, they don't want to see him strike out 6 times. Yeah. I mean, it's happening anyway. But
well, actually, it's funny because the median age that watches baseball is 50.
Of course.
And I didn't really notice that until just the other day. They went 2-0. Exactly. But I feel like
Babe Ruth was awesome.
I don't think. I mean, it probably is spike ratings. I bet you in football it's the same thing where people want to see 45-42 football.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt.
3-0.
Sure. The Rams Chiefs game.
Yeah, right. They'd rather have that Super Bowl than the Patriots,
right? Where it's 6-3, and you're like, oh man, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, sure. I find defensive games more entertaining, right? Which is why I personally would say no. But as overall, I guess they probably do want to spike the ratings. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to continue to see this, right? Do we think that, regardless of whether they're doing anything to the baseballs themselves, do you think that this is going to be the new trend, right? NFL scoring is up. NBA scoring is way up, right? I mean, it's going crazy. Do you think that, Major League Baseball is going also kind of towards that, to where you're going, okay, we need to get people back into the ballpark, right? We need to get people back watching TV. We have these, and obviously you can see that the ratings are hurting them, right? You didn't see the massive free agency frenzy like we saw in the offseason. You've seen a lot of big-name players not get signed until later on in spring training or in the middle of the year, because they're like, I don't want to pay that anymore because it's no longer conducive for me to do that, right? I can go younger and cheaper and still produce a winning ball club because no one's showing up. Nobody cares anymore. So do you think that it's a necessity for them to continue to have the offense continue to drive the sport going forward, rather than the intricacies of a pitching battle?
I think for the younger fans, yes.
Yeah.
Because the older fans are just going to start... They're always going to be watching.
Right.
But, soon they're... Unfortunately, it's going to suck to say this.
Yeah.
They're going to start, dying out or just not watch. Yeah. And then you're going to have to rely on the younger crowd to really, start getting into baseball. And now everyone's basketball is a big craze because they can score 150 points and shoot 45 threes and stuff.
Right, exactly.
And you got, or football, they score, you just saw the Chiefs-Rams game where they go 45-42.
That was
oh my God, what a bonkers kind of a game.
I
want to do that.
Right.
I don't want to sit there and strike out 17 times in a row or whatever.
Yeah. I think because of this media age, right, it simulates a video game. In a lot of ways, right? Like when we play Madden, right? It's like, oh man, we gotta hurry up, we gotta score a whole bunch of points. We know they're gonna score at some point, so we gotta score, right? Same thing when we play MLB The Show or threes in hockey, whatever it is, where it's like, okay, it's all these incentives are to score more, right? Yeah. +2 here, you do this, you do that. It's all about offense. It's all about scoring points.
Yes.
And so I think that the real life sports are like, man, everybody's, Madden's never been hotter, video games have never been, esports have never been a bigger thing than they are right this minute. So we need to do what we can to make sure that people are still coming in and watching the real life game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So by emulating that and going, okay, we got to do something to put some butts in seats. Like the Tigers' attendance, we talked about it a few months ago. It's so terrible, right? Not only are they a bad baseball team, but it's not a fun product to watch anymore as a whole. Baseball no longer interests enough people to make it worthwhile to go to a baseball game or to buy, God forbid, season tickets to a baseball season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do think it does in part go to how long the season is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because we talked about this, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. We thought it could be shortened up.
We just talk about how, you think basketball and hockey's too long, and then you double the amount of games.
Exactly. Right, because any game you see in the NFL, you go, this is an important game.
For the most part. 99% of the games are
So, every time you win or lose, it impacts something, usually, right? In baseball, they lost 6 in a row. All right, well, they won 8, so I guess you know what I mean?
You start the season, you're 10-0, and then you lose 9 in a row, and you're like, I still have a winning record.
Right,
In football, you lose 2, and you're like, your season's probably over.
Yeah, exactly. You lost 2. If you don't win this week, it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I think the
teams can start 0-3. It's like, oh, they're out of the playoffs already.
And a baseball team can start 0-54 and still have a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
So you just have a...
It's funny when you say it like that. Hey, guys, listen, we went 0-54. We just got to get really hot and just win all the rest of our games.
Exactly. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard, guys.
It's just baseball.
Right? Just find our bats. It's fine. Yeah, that's crazy. That's good stuff. All right, guys. That'll be it for part 1 of the episode. I think we're on episode 33, guys. Reminder, we are on YouTube every single Wednesday. So if you're watching this right now, you already know that. But you may not have clicked that subscribe button. So if you haven't, please do. If you have, we thank you very much for your support. And be sure to tune in every single week. We're also, if you're listening to my beautiful voice at the moment, we are on Spotify. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on Podcast Addict, we're on Google Play Music, we're on everywhere you can find us. You know why? Because that's how we want to get to you. Whatever the easiest way for you guys to listen to us, we want to be there. If we are not on your preferred platform, please let us know in the comments here on this YouTube video or shoot us an email at iarbroadcastmedia@gmail.com. After the break, we got U.S. women's soccer. We're going to talk some pay gap issues again because I'm still annoyed by it. I want to talk the AEW show and the WWE/Evolve show. And to end it off, we're going to talk some other pay gap issues that annoy me, the NBA to the NFL pay gap. All that good stuff and more after the break. Stick around. Hey guys, this is the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka from the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. Just reminding you that we are live every single Monday at 7 in the morning on your favorite streaming services. All 5 major sports, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and professional wrestling. I'm Always Right Sports Podcast every Monday, 7 a.m. See you there. Okay, welcome back to part 2 of episode 33. Once again, thank you for joining us here on the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. Mike, let's jump right into it. Women's national team. FIFA World Cup, utter domination by the U.S. women's team for the most part. They win their 2nd World Cup in a row, right? Their 3rd overall. Only the 2nd country ever, I believe, to win back-to-back World Cups. They should have won 3 if they wouldn't have choked a couple years ago. But anyway, as we were saying, I mean, so much domination there. There's been a lot of other things talked about, but I just want to briefly touch on this. How dominant of a run was this? You watched all the games. You know, you were pretty interested just to see how they come out. They were the favorites. I mean, how dominant was this? Because I didn't feel like at any point in time, the Spain game was a little yeah. But besides that, I never once thought, no, they're in trouble.
Well, their last game, I thought, I was intrigued until their penalty kick happened. I said, oh, this is over.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they were going to score.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing, was their defense was just so impeccable.
Yes.
That it was just like, when Spain scored on them, I was like,
oh,
wait.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like, that was the first score.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be like the big upset.
I was like, wait, we might lose this one, and then we scored 2 more, won. But at the end of the day, it was just like, they scored. Like, I think that there's only a total of 1 goal. I think Spain's the only team to score on the U.S.
Right.
So from all the games.
Well, that's the thing. It's crazy, right? And you look at it, how great of a run this was. The lineup changes, right? Rapinoe was out for a game. It didn't even matter. Like, there's just a whole bunch of stuff. They beat the home country in France. You know, so it was a whole bunch of stuff where you continuously saw this team bounce back. With that being said, because of how dominant this was, right, along with a higher emphasis on women's sports, just in general, right, whether it's even the women's team was like, hey, the World Cup's over, that's great, but the women's professional leagues are underfunded, right? We just don't, no one watches them. We need a TV deal. We're not going to play until we get that. A heavier emphasis, even like in professional wrestling, the women's revolution. Do you think that with this now 3rd World Cup back-to-back that we're finally going to see that gap close between the men and the women as far as just the women's team goes? Yeah. Just, because I do think that at this point it's kind of hard to deny not paying them an equal wage at this point. I mean, they've been so dominant. Yeah. The men's team is just floating. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's hard to argue against that point.
Yeah. I just understand what the holdup is. I guess is my question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It must have something to do with something out of our, like a whole, like, oh, maybe they don't make enough, like, not make enough themselves, but like just like in general, people don't watch the women's World Cup as much as the men's. Right. I tend to disagree with that.
I feel like that, especially in the U.S.
But I couldn't really give you a real answer to that. Right. I feel like the brain needs to be here for this one.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, she'd like go off on gender roles and yell at me or something like that.
Yeah, but in general, I mean, they definitely should. Yeah. And I think the emphasis, soon we'll see that.
Yeah, right. I think so too. I think it's about time. I think ESPN's finally, signed the Women's Professional League, so I think they're going to be on ESPN now, which is awesome. Yeah. Obviously, we don't talk much about women's sports just because we don't watch enough of it. But for the people that are fans of that, right, I do think that it needs to happen. The WNBA has gotten tons of support from the NBA. Awesome. You see it all the time, right? Good. Professional wrestling, WWE, AEW. If you watch that, we'll talk about that in a second. But those women's matches, you can tell there was some thought put into those, right? There was some time given to that. Even in WWE, same thing. I just think it's about time we just start working on a level playing field.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's super simple. Don't overthink it. It's the easiest decision. Do it already.
Just do it.
Just do it. Exactly. Do it the Nike way. Just do it. All right. All right. Shift away from that now. Let's talk AEW, Fight for the Fallen, live on Bleacher Report Live. I guess.
It was free.
Yeah, it was free, which was cool.
Yes.
The Evolve show that WWE kind of hosted on the WWE Network went head to head. Coincidence? I think not. Let's just talk straight out. Which show was better? Which one did you like and why?
As a whole,
yeah, as a whole.
Okay, I definitely go AEW Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah.
As a whole show,
for sure.
There were definitely spots involved that I think were better than the AEW show, but like match for match, pound for pound, AEW was the better show.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that too. I know you said that you liked individual match. You have an individual match that you thought, okay, that was the best, regardless of even I thought maybe did you have an evolved match that was better than anything on the AEW show?
If I would say go watch a match, it's the Austin Theory JD Drake. Winner takes all match.
Right, for the Evolve and WWN championships.
Yes.
Right.
I think that match over both shows was definitely the best.
Yeah.
In totality.
You're going to see Austin Theory pretty soon here.
Very close.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah,
but I would say also, like, then you can go Kenny Omega and Shima was awesome.
Fantastic.
Young Bucks and Brotherhood, fantastic.
Yep.
So you also had a lot of good ones, but that match at Evolve was like in totality the best one.
I would agree with you. I think AEW is doing a hell of a great job putting on these free events, right? And I think another thing that I like about what AEW is doing, if you watch the 6-man tag with Shawn Spears, Joey Janela, MJF, Darby Allin, and who was the other guy?
Jimmy Havoc.
And Jimmy Havoc, right? Those 6 guys, right, going at it. The one thing you knew coming in, right, is that you had the Shawn Spears thing, so he had some good heat. But we talked about it a couple weeks ago where we said Darby Allin and Joey Janela came out stars after that show, right? After Fyter Fest. So when I watched this match, I was extremely interested to see crowd reaction for some of these guys. First thing I noticed, major heat for Shawn Spears. And then Darby Allin comes out, place erupts, right? Mm-hmm. Joey Janela comes out, place erupts, right? The momentum is changing. And then what they did, which I thought was fantastic, was they allowed themselves to go, okay, we have these guys, we're kind of established, but okay, now we're going to establish Jimmy Havoc, right? Who maybe you don't know, who he had some great moments. The Dark Order in that triple threat tag match was fantastic. It was a match completely centered towards them. You kind of
Don't forget about A Boy and His Dinosaur.
That's what I'm saying. Luchasaurus was a star, right? And his tag team partner, Tim Jungle Boy, was fantastic. Got huge reactions, right? Yeah. That they were able to continue momentum, and I think that these shows, not even necessarily pushing storyline. I know the Jericho with Adam Page thing happened, right? But for the most part, the ability to use these shows as a medium to build stars, right? To make me and you as a fan, we already obviously knew these people, but if you've never seen them before and you're now just seeing them because you're not in the UK, you're not into that kind of scene, to be able to establish and to make these people and make a fan care. Yeah. Make them care about this character. Make them care about this person. Bring out what makes them that person. Put Joey Janela in a hardcore match against Ambrose, see what happens, right? Yeah. He's a crazy son of a gun. So we saw that, right? And we feel it. We have that empathy for it. So we go, we appreciate that. I just thought that was a fantastic job of the carryover, as well as being able to build new guys. Seema's another guy, right? Had a great showing against Kenny Omega, who got over even in a defeat. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think it's so impressive what they can do without any championship matches.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's not even about the story necessarily. Like, they have usually one big story throughout a show, right? Yeah. Like the Brotherhood versus the Bucks. Yeah. But being able to put, like, all right, we're just going to put 6 guys in the ring, right? 3 kind of good, 3 kind of bad, whatever, and just say go. Yeah. And have a fantastic match, and everybody got something out of it, right? Mm-hmm. That was the big thing. Everybody got to showcase it. I really loved the triple threat tag match, too. The Dark Order, you had Jack Evans and Angelico, and who was the other
Jungle
team?
Boy
and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. So I thought that match was fantastic. Dark Order, if you haven't seen it before, they used to be known as the Super Smash Bros. They're fantastic. I just love what they did. I agree with you that Fyter Fest was better. I'm sorry, Fight for the Fallen was better. I did, like I said, I just love the fact that they're really able to develop these stars and make people care. Just because as a general fan, you go, if I know who they are, I'm already kind of invested. Yeah. But if you don't know, you're like, that was awesome. That was awesome. He's really cool. Who the hell is that?
That makes me excited for the TV show.
Exactly.
Because I go, if you can do this without a TV show,
and no builds, no builds.
Yeah, you're just kind of go, okay, so
here's a 6-man tag.
Yeah, here's a 6-man tag, and all the pieces work, and it's really entertaining. What are you gonna do when there is a TV show? When you have time to go, okay, so All Out 2, we'll say whatever, is in 6 weeks, and we have 6 episodes to build to this. It's going to be phenomenal.
Right, exactly. Being able to tell that story. Now, I guess that kind of piggybacks to my next question. Have they kept up their momentum, right? Based off of this show, do you think that they are still rolling towards All Out, ready to go, like, okay, all guns blazing?
I mean, they already have 4 matches that I think are going to steal the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can't decide which one's going to be the best one,
yeah.
And that's already exciting. And again, there's no weekly show to build to it. I'm just already sitting here going, wow, I'm just really excited.
Yeah.
In 6 weeks, I guess, or 5 weeks from now.
Well, that's the thing, right? And you're just, and that's it, right?
Maybe it is the long-term anticipation factor.
Absolutely. And I think it is, to some extent, right? But I think their ability to make people, like, you know, their roster's not very big, right? We've said that over and over again. However, with the guys that they have, they've done a great job of getting everybody over. Everybody cares about everybody. This reminds me so much about, I hate to bring up the Attitude Era, but in one particular sense, everybody had a story. It didn't matter if you were D'Lo Brown. It didn't matter if you were Stevie Richards. It didn't matter if you were Stone Cold Steve Austin. It didn't matter if you were Val Venus. It didn't matter, right? You could be the very tippy top, right? Taker, Austin, Rock, Triple H. You could be the very, very bottom where you're like, who the hell is that? And you're the Mean Street Posse. It doesn't matter. You all have a role. You all have a meaning. There's a purpose of why do I care about you? Okay, because you're doing this, or you're in this match with this person. Whatever the case may be, you're in it, right? And we care because we've got enough time invested in the character and in their performance to go, I want to see that again.
Yes.
Right? You know what I mean? And I want to see this guy versus this guy versus this guy. Yeah. So I thought they did a really nice job. Do you think that with this Evolve show, because it was a bit of a different presentation, right? You know, with as far as, you know, it's a WWE event, but it's an Evolve show, right? With a lot of talent that's not under contract. Do you think that this was a good attempt by WWE to kind of take away maybe some of the audience from the AEW show? Do you think that was at all? Or do you think, okay, I'm a WWE guy, I'm going to watch this show, and if not, no, I don't care. I can watch that anytime I want.
I really want to find out some people. I bet you there's some people.
Oh, I'm sure there are. Like, no doubt.
I wonder what the ratio was to who watched AEW. Like, I know, like, for me, I watched AEW first, and I went back to watch Evolve. I wonder how many people just were like, yeah, I think I'm going to watch Evolve over AEW. So I'm really interested to see that. Because there's not a lot, like, when you go over the Evolve card, especially as, like, because you're assuming that you're more of a casual fan at that point.
You've never heard a lot of these guys.
You haven't heard about 7 of the 9 matches that are going to be on it. You don't know anybody on the card. Where if you're any kind of a fan, you know Cody Rhodes, you know Dustin Rhodes, you even know some of the people on AEW show.
Chris Jericho's going to be live.
Chris Jericho's going to be live.
Cool. I'll watch Jericho.
Yeah, and a non-scripted promo. Super unscripted.
We could tell. A lot of delays. A lot of delays. Just
no idea what was there.
You were a little jet lagged. I can feel it. Yeah. Just throwing that out there. Like, you want to talk about, just side note real quick, of the matches that have been announced so far, the one match that I know for a fact will not live up to the hype is Jericho Page. It just won't. I just feel it. I just know in my... I'm just calling it right now. We can I could be completely wrong, and it blows me away.
I'm going to write that down.
I don't think it's going to do... I don't think it's going to do what I think that they're hoping it's going to do. I think it's going to be a big moment because they're going to crown a new champion, and I think Jericho should go over at the end of the day because of that. Yeah. But at the same time, I just think that it's going to be... I think it's going to be a good match. I don't think it's going to be like... Oh man, like I am just like spent emotionally.
Oh, no. I think that's gonna be every other match before that.
Yeah, and then, probably.
Well, I think I'm gonna be half asleep during it because I'm gonna be so gassed from everything else that happens.
Yeah, that's the only problem with those loaded cards, though, right? Is that like you look at all these, you're like, oh man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Even if there's only 8 matches, they each go 25, 30 minutes. You're like, I don't have enough stamina for this. You know what I mean? Like I just am like. I'm spent.
Now, talking about Evolve just as a whole, though.
For sure.
So, if this was a network thing now, where they had every Evolve show, would you pay more for that network to watch these Evolve shows?
No, because, and here's the reason why. You're not the opportunity cost of me giving you an extra $2 is worth more than watching these Evolve shows because you have to spend so much time, once again, investing in this talent, right? Yeah. AEW is saying, here's it for free, right? Yeah. You're going to make you pay for All Out, right? And you're going to have the weekly show, right? If you wanted to put Evolve on, then just put Evolve on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to add that, I think that would make people more interested to say, okay, let's see what this is, right? But because you have NXT already, too, that's pretty similar as far as like match situations and stuff like that. It's new talent, no doubt about it, right? And they've sent talent over there, they send talent up here, whatever. But at the end of the day, Evolve is just a little bit lower version of NXT, right? Of an NXT TakeOver show, right? So if you're gonna do that, you might as well just put make NXT longer, make it 2 hours and just go with it, right? Because I don't want to pay more unless you're giving me like 10 different promotions. Like if Progress is going to join on there and ICW and PCW and all these other things, then maybe I'll give you an extra $2 of my every month. But right now, with the way the product is, you're not getting me. You're not getting me. Would you pay the extra money?
I would consider it.
Would you?
Like strongly consider it.
Even though you got New Japan World and you're watching AEW every week and everything else, you think so?
I have enough time for that. Maybe.
Not that if you have enough time, but do you think it's worthwhile for you to be like, oh, okay, sure, let's check this out. Like, what if it sucks? What if they just take it over and it like gets watered down and it's like an hour show?
Then you just go back to the original one.
Yeah.
I'm saying like if you had
was a tiered
thing, so like you had $9.99, $11.99. So then I'd go, okay, I'll try it for a month or two, and if it sucks, you just go back down. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
I just think that the main product, right, as we say, Extreme Rules, which we'll be covering next week on the show.
Yeah, it's
behind us here. The main product will have to get much better first for me to be like, all right, here's more of my money. You know what I mean? Like, they already take up so much of my time anyway. I don't want to give them more. They don't take up that much of my time. Yeah, right? Like, we'll just watch the pay-per-views and reviewing and kind of, trying to keep up. It's just a lot of stuff, right? So, because of that, maybe don't watch every single minute. I'm not going to come out here and say I watch Raw and SmackDown.
I was going to say I don't watch Raw.
No, NXT shows. Right, exactly. It's rough go. But if I know there's a good match on there, I'm like, oh, okay, let's tune in. But
that's why I feel like if Evolve, like you just had Austin Theory versus Adam Cole, you go,
then just
I would pay that extra $2.
Just sign Austin Theory. Yeah, you know what I mean.
But that's what I mean. Like if he was going to be exclusive to Evolve, they make you go watch Evolve, and him and Adam Cole had a match, I'd go, I'd pay the extra $2 to watch that match.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I don't know. I just must be a cheapskate compared to you.
You really must be.
I don't know. Like I said, I just think the product has to get better for me to be like, oh yeah, dude, take my money. Here you go. Done. Sold. Like, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, I would not pay for Extreme Rules.
Oh no, if it was $49.99,
right? Okay, but $35.
Okay, how much would you have paid for Fight of the Fallen?
I probably wouldn't have paid for it.
You wouldn't have?
No. The card on paper. But once again, though, because I'll pay for All Out. But I'm not going to pay for Fight of the Fallen. And I'll tell you why. Because, number one, there's no title matches, right? There's no true big implications on that card.
Yeah.
I could have read the spoilers, right, the next day on Bleacher Report or wherever, and read it and go, okay, cool. And been fine, right? Yeah. Like, my life was not altered. Now, do I think it was a fantastic show? No doubt.
No doubt. That's me, like, pre-show. I go, I wish I could say that, but then I'd buy it and then watch it.
And then you're like,
and then I go,
I'll watch it later.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Sale.
Yeah.
I'll watch it, or you buy it, I'll come over.
Like, sometimes I'm like I got like Slammiversary, let's go super off topic.
Right, for sure.
I got Slammiversary, and then I was watching half of it, and I was like, this is good, but I don't know if I was willing to spend like the $24.99 or whatever it was for it. I was like, I guess I could have went with just reading it or like watching highlights.
And you don't know sometimes, right?
But like how the card looked, I was like, I definitely would have spent like up to like $20.
That would have been one of those that bit me in the butt, right? Like, because I agree with you, right? I watched it, start to finish, and I thought, wow, that was a really great show.
But then $20, you go,
you're like, I don't know now, right? Yes. That's kind of my point. Right? There's always has to be a reason for things to be happening, right? I understand what AEW's reason is, right? Yeah. But right now, let's just get as much talent over. So that's the big thing.
Okay.
All right, let's shift now. Let's go to the last. That's why we're on the show, though. Give a whole bunch of great information. I want to talk about the NBA to NFL pay gap. Now, a lot of NFL players have come out on Twitter and be like, man, NBA players I never even heard of, what's his name? He's getting $40 million. John Lure is a perfect example. 4 years, $47 million. Who the hell is John Lure, right? Nobody knew. NFL players are fighting, to get contracts. NBA is booming, obviously. This has been a crazy free agency period. Do you think that the NFL players should be getting comparable pay to the NBA, right? Like, do you think that necessarily they deserve it? Do you think that the pay structure has to, because that's a big part of it, right? Is when you're in the NFL has a salary cap, and it's a hard cap. You cannot go over that. The NBA, not really. The NBA, you pay for winning is what you do. You go over the luxury tax. You've got mid-level exceptions and trade-level exceptions and this and bi-level and this and that and everything else. So, what's your take?
See, I'm tough on this because I go, basketball for me, and to your point, the John Lure thing is kind of weird to me. Like you're paying.
But that's those kind of guys though, right? Where you're just like, really, he's making 10. Can you imagine if like a random backup offensive lineman was making $10 million in the NFL? Because that's what it is. Yeah, right? That's how you have to equate it, right? Like, oh great, our backup to Frank Ragnow is making $10 million.
I do think though it's different. It's different in the sense where it's like, there's some positions that you value more than others. Yeah, and that's why some players can look and go, wow, this guy's getting paid this in the NBA, but I'm not getting paid that much. It's because your position that you do individually isn't as important. Like in basketball, there's 5 positions, and for the most part, they realistically do the same thing, which is why it's easy to go, all right, who's better, this person or this person? Because you can just look at numbers and so because they're the same. They do offense and defense and all the same stuff. No doubt. Where like you go, okay, so how much should we pay this quarterback or this running back or this guy or this guy? Right. It's hard to like compare actually. Yeah. And to go to the NBA because you go, they all do so much, and it's like, do we need this guy because do we need a third string running back of this caliber kind of thing? You know what I mean?
There's only how many guys on an NBA
exactly, and that's also if you have the exact same salary cap, say like $250 million or whatever to spend, and you go, you have 53 guys to fill out instead of 14 that you have on the other side. You can.
That's a pretty drastic difference.
Yeah, you can go, okay, so I'll give you $50 million, and I still have $200 million to give to other guys. Right. You give $50 million to one guy, and now you're like, I have this much money to spend to 52 other people, which is also
right.
Which
and obviously,
both those reasons
structures can be made, right? Contracts like for instance, Trey Flowers is making like $3 million this year, right? Because of a signing bonus is like 7, so it equates out, right? Do you think that maybe the salary levels, because the salary is always increasing a little bit in the NFL, right? Do you think though that that the NBA pay scale is the reason why people, and what I mean by pay scale is twofold. Number one, the Supermax contracts, but 2, the guaranteed contracts, right? Like they're fully guaranteed, like you're just making this amount of money, right? Or you're getting bought out. The NFL is not like that. Do you think that if the NFL switched to, all right, we're going to give you 5 years, $85 million, but it's guaranteed, right? Rather than 5 years, $110 million, but only 45 of it's guaranteed, right? Because no way you're seeing years 4 and 5 in that deal. It's never going to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? So because of that, so it's like, do you think that if they change the way they structured their contracts, similar to the way the NBA does, where, okay, we're going to stay the same, relatively the same amount of money, but you're going to get it all guaranteed rather than, you get about a quarter.
See, football for me, it's hard 40%. Because it's probably the biggest contact sport. Contact sport, yeah.
I mean, there's little dudes.
We're going to throw in a compactor or something. It's the biggest contact sport. Yeah. And so
the body is taking a bit
so like going, hey, so carry on. We're going to give you this 5-year, $185 million contract. You go, but what if he gets hurt every single year of that? Like NBA, I'm not as, like when I'm giving you this, when I give Russell Westbrook a huge contract, I'm not going, now, out of these 82 games, do you think he's going to, like, get hurt and only play half? Like, that's not my immediate concern in basketball. Right. Because for the most part, guys...
Yeah, they can sit out 20 games.
Yeah, you can sit out 20 games, you'll be fine. Or there's just not as many injuries.
Do you think that the sports are just too drastic to really make the comparison, right? Yeah. Because I think that's a hard art aligned too, right? Because the NFL players are just looking at it like, damn, I never even heard of this dude. He just got paid $60 million for 4 years, right? Yeah. Where me, I got to fight tooth and nail. I'm Melvin Gordon asking for a new deal. And I've been producing like crazy, but I can't get a new deal because I play running back in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be better for like basketball and hockey than football.
Yeah, for sure.
Football
is hard. Way short into the stick.
Football is way too hard to compare to any sport because it's just so. I think football is drastically so much different than all the other sports. Right. Like scoring or any way you want to look at anything, football's just drastically different.
Do you think that last point here? Do you think that this issue, right, and because the CBA runs out after this season, they're already in negotiations. It's supposedly going well so far. Besides that stupid 18 game, did you hear about that proposition where the owners want to do 18 game schedule, but only 16 you can only play 16 games, so coaches have to choose when to sit their best players for 2 games.
Wait, in the NFL?
Yeah, they want to do 18. This is all side topic.
Okay, well, this is breaking news.
They want to do an 18-game schedule. Okay. But they want shorten the preseason, get 2 games extra in the regular season, but Stafford can only play 16 games. So our backup quarterback's going to play 2. How stupid is that? How dumb is that?
Wait, I love that though.
That's like the biggest excuse maker.
Well, okay.
Well, my quarterback didn't play in that game. That's why he beat us.
That's like the Patriots would love this.
Yeah.
Because Brady sits the last 2 games anyway, almost every year. So then he just sits those last 2 games.
And their backup quarterback they can trade it away every year.
Whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you think though that
I love
that this pay scale issue is going to be a sticking point in the CBA negotiations going forward, or do you think that there's enough increase every single year and there's not a big enough, I wouldn't say a big enough argument, but I just think that the bridge is too hard to gap between NBA and NFL as far as the way caps are structured, as far as how the pay is structured, that it would make sense for this to be a sticking point. Because you're seeing a lot of people be like, oh, I got 2 years left. Oh, I need an extension. Like now. Like I need an extension now. Slay, Snacks, right? These guys going in, I need extensions now. 2 years away.
Yeah. Football makes sense for that because you get hurt and you're like, oh, now I'm donezo. Mm-hmm. Where basketball, I don't think that has that big of an issue.
Yeah.
But I do think that this will be a sticking point in the next CBA negotiation. But that's like
let's just make sure we don't have no football next year, right? Like we want to make sure we have it. It's good. We can talk about it. Make me happy.
If anything, if the NFL goes down, the XFL.
Oh, we got the XFL! Yes, awesome! I can't wait. Vince McMahon in his sweet jacket or something.
Yeah, that's probably why the product sucks. We're watching it right now.
Yeah,
the product probably sucks because he goes, "All right, XFL, how are we gonna make you good?"
All right, yeah, exactly.
He's competing against the NFL and the AEW. Which one will you be?
Get out of here. All right. All right, guys, that's going to be it for episode 33. Remember, we are on YouTube every Wednesday, on SoundCloud, Spotify, and all the other favorite podcasting sites every Monday. So if you're listening to this, you already know that. All right, for the Merc Zone, for the Mouth of Michigan, we will see you guys as always next time.